Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of, uncertain here, but we're going to say today, May 7th, 2022, but we've had other bomb drop dates given. And a date of marriage of 2000. Good you figured out that contact type is off and on and unfamiliar with energy level types. She says, my husband has filed for divorce without explanation. He basically ghosted me. He occasionally texts about a bill, but nothing else. He hasn't once been nasty in these years since leaving. He just said he's done. I didn't beg or do anything. I just asked at times, why? Nothing. Needless to say, he recently just posted that he was a serial victim of narcissism and manipulation. I was like, WTF? I'm so insecure and I don't understand. I'm with you. I understand your lack of understanding. Obviously, he's taking shots now at me. I had thought he was now in stage 4. Stage 4 being Jim Conway or Heart's Blessings depression, or what I would call liminality. Facing failure or the liminal stage, but then this is out of nowhere? Is this normal behavior before the collapse? I thought he was out of the crazy stage because he has become very sad, and my son said he's putting himself down, doesn't shower, he plays video games, and just puts spaces this last 5 months. He's looked awful, and my son was trying to get him to go to therapy for his deep dive into woe is me stage. But he refuses and says he's fine. My son said he's looked homeless since February, and he used to be so clean. So first, I hadn't considered this, but as I was reading it, I do want to first state that sometimes there is a period where they do go back after going through these stages to the escape and avoid stage a little bit, and you'll see a repeat after having gone through it when you think they've gotten through to the reintegration acceptance stage, and they kind of say goodbye. As Heart's Blessings will say, they close the door on the stages. I'm not thinking that's what's happening, but I wanted to point that out, that you'll think everything's over. You'll think they've gone through liminality. You'll think, oh, they're doing so well. They're finally getting toward acceptance, and they're almost out. And now it's all bad again. Oh, they're going through escape. They're going through replay. They're acting just crazy again. We'll see these. So I want to point that out. And you're thinking, why am I doing this again? But I'm just not getting that idea. So I'm focused on this piece. He just posted he was a serial victim of narcissism and manipulation. And why would he do that? And the other thing I wanted to say is, you just asked at times why. That's the why me's. And so the why me's are, this is a midlife crisis. And then we go back and understand the psychology. So the next thing is, why do people accuse of narcissism? Well, one of the first things is narcissists accuse people of being narcissists. And narcissists are very good at projecting. If they make an accusation, it's usually something they're doing or something about themselves. So there's that. Not saying your spouse is a narcissist, but that is a trait of narcissists. But of course, people who are accused of being narcissists might be them, and it's not fair to say that the accusers are narcissists. Sometimes you really are a narcissist, and the diagnostician doesn't mean they're a narcissist. So there's a little bit of a double bind within that, isn't there? But why would he suddenly start saying a serial victim of narcissism and manipulation? Okay, so first, at this point, is he trying to throw you off your game? Is he trying something to gaslight you? Is he trying to get others to believe him and not you? Is he trying to deflect? Others are maybe looking at the two of you, your friends, your base of friends. And maybe they're seeing you, they're seeing him, because you have said that you're basically in the same region where you can see each other in the neighborhood, or even though you don't have contact with each other, but you can pass by each other, which means neighbors maybe, or people see you in the supermarket. So you have the same people that you're going to see, and so friends might see you. And sometimes the person who gets to them first with the first story wins. So maybe he's trying to get his story out there and get it so that I'm going to tell them what she's like so they believe me. And this could be, he could have convinced himself of this after a few years if he tells it long enough. But he wants to get them. And it could be to throw you off then. But since he hasn't had as much communication with you, it doesn't mean that he's thinking of you seeing this. It could just be for their purposes. And then it gets to you. It does get to you because then it gets back to you because your friends, you lose them. And you lose that friend base, and he gets them. It goes into court, and it comes to he has all of the people that go to his side, and you don't have anybody. And sometimes people have to go into court and testify for their friends' character testifications and things like that, testimony. So there could be gaslighting, there could be discrediting. Is he trying to get revenge on you? Is this a control? Is he trying to take power over you? Is this a dominance? All of these are different kinds of manipulations, really, and different kinds of levels of gaslighting. What is he afraid of? It doesn't mean that he's doing this. Who is putting a bug in his ear about it as well? Who said this? Did somebody give him this idea? The other thing is narcissism. It is one of those big buzzwords today in the media and out there. So we're hearing a lot about it. And so I feel like we are getting poked about, hey, maybe this is what, are you going through this? Are you going through this? And anybody who is experiencing something where they are feeling like the victim, then that is going to be one of the things that is happening to them. Oh, it must be. That person must be. If I'm the victim, then my perpetrator must be. Because to me, these days, I'm just hearing it everywhere. I'm hearing narcissism. And in our circles, I'm hearing avoidance or attachment styles, but just out, not in our circles, just everywhere, narcissism. And so everybody knows about it now. And you can hear it. So I think people are pulling that out as a solution or as what the problem is. Oh, this is the problem. So it might be that he's gaslighting you. It might be that he's trying to discredit you and trying to manipulate you, throw you off your game, trying to get others on one side or the other, trying to avoid accountability for himself and shift the blame. But it might also be that he is grasping for, what is this? And do all of those other things within it. But hey, I've seen this out there in the media, and that all of the attention going to it, and when you hear the same thing over and over again, and you don't quite understand it, but it's saturated with it, you start to believe in it. And you're told, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And you believe in yourself and that you're not the problem. Something else must be, because he doesn't want to believe he's the problem. Because if he's the problem, he has to fix it. And he's not ready to believe that he's the one that's broken. He has to double down on that anger because he doesn't know how to fix it. It's too hard. And he's too scared. But to acknowledge and admit that, oh, there's too much work to be done then. He has to avoid that and run from it. But he can't acknowledge that. Instead, he has to put the blame onto something else and someone else. And that person is going to be the closest person who had been there to him. And that is almost always the spouse. And that's you. I'm sorry that it's you. And so now he has to make you the object of everything that is bad. And so he's going to point out everything and rewrite it all to make it seem. He's going to even rewrite the memories in his head so that this time when I came home and you did this, or you didn't have dinner ready, or anything, he will rewrite those to put in the framework of narcissism, how you did this, so that he can fit this new narrative. And then he'll spread that to the people that he wants to move to his side, that we're joint friends and that things like that. And why now versus why not before? Because he's been looking for something. He's been looking for not an excuse, but an explanation. Something to help him understand. And this narcissism idea, I'm grasping. I don't know. I'm just giving you some ideas as to why and what might be going on. This narcissism thing that's out there, being talked about so much, maybe that's it. Now, what do you do about it? A few things. Number one, first thing, you can't control him. You can't control what he does. And you hardly have any contact. So a first thing, I'm going to back up for a minute. A few things. I do have a couple things. Number one, you talked about you thought he was in this stage of liminality. I have a question. You'd previously said that you thought bomb drop was, you said the same day as in the 7th of a month. You said June 7th, but 2024. So basically 1 year ago. And this one puts it 3 years ago, May 7th, 2022. Which one? Because that makes a giant difference on what I would interpret. Because if it was 2024, absolutely not. Was one a typo, or were you just reevaluating bomb drop? And how are you reevaluating that bomb drop? When he left the home? Or when you actually had he stayed at home, but you had a very specific, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, and you knew you had an at-home MLCer? Because liminality is not going to come 1 year after. 3 years after, sure, it could. You're not going to be solid there, probably. Could be, but maybe not. So that would make a difference on that. And so I'm wondering about that. And then that might make a difference on the narcissism pieces as well. Why is he coming up with it now and not before? And what's this grasping that he's doing? So this stuff, this manipulation, this control, was he doing that before if he was at home for this time? And then did he stop? Because you've said that basically you thought he was a vanisher. Except that now he texts occasionally, just a little tiny thing. And so off and on, and then you can see him occasionally. But for the most part, your communication is not that much. You're going to do this. You're not going to worry about what he does. And if you did have any type of communication where you actually had an influence, what you would do, say that it was me and I had my clinging boomerang. What I would do to combat this narcissism with him, for you, it's like, you just have to it's not about me, and I'm going to detach from it. What I would do, because Chuck and I were very interactive, is that's not true. You and I both know that is not true. Eye contact, you and I both know. I stated it as a fact, and I was unwavering in it as a fact. And I sounded like I was being very credible. And I often made myself sound very clinical. I didn't state it as an opinion. You and I both know that is not true. And I would say that to friends as well. And I might make it laughable. Yeah, whatever. Come on, look at him. You're taking Crazy Train as something credible? Look what he's doing. You and I both know that's not true. Come on. What are you doing believing him? That might be the other way of doing it when you're talking to a friend that is coming up with that. So those are ways of talking to others about that. You do it politely. I mean, you don't mock your friend, but you can mock him in the crazy train. He's acting. Look how he's acting. Look what he's doing. You don't go like, who's more believable? He's, just being stupid. He's a dumbass. No, it's logical. He's not being logical. He is acting crazy. He's just left me. And he's trying to do these things. And you can tell. You and I both know. You make it a fact. Now, don't worry about it otherwise. If people are going to believe him, you don't get emotional. When you get emotional, and I mean dysregulated and emotional, then to the others, so your friend comes to you about this, and you get upset. Not like, man, that's really, but you get really upset. To them, it seems like, oh, I guess it's kind of proving him true. Because she's really dysregulated in her emotions. Well, and you're like, well, of course it's upsetting. Somebody just accused me of something bad. There's irony in there, I know. But stay calm. You can eye roll it if you want. It's like, really? You're believing somebody who just accused me? You know me better than that. And he left. Well, he seems pretty normal. Yeah, he left. He's the one who left. He's the one who's making accusations. Be logical. What even there? What does that say? So, and both of you could be being quiet about it, and it could come down to a he said, she said, but you don't buy into it. The more emotionally dysregulated you sound in tone or in your words, the more people will buy into his accusations. So you're firm, you can be clinical, and you state things as though they're a fact. That is a type of Ericksonian hypnotherapy, the way I stated that. You and I both know. We state it as a fact, and sure, people will disagree and refute it, but I'm not stating it as something that is up for debate, up for discussion, or set as an opinion. So I'm not opening this up to a discussion about my, personality disorder that you think I have. I'm not discussing that with it because it's not because it's private. It's because it's not true. And you know it. End of discussion. If you want to discuss that, go out and talk to the sky. We're done. And you be firm, not rude. Go out and discuss it to the sky. Then you're proving them true. Or that is how it feels to them. Okay. So, and then he's going to do these things. He's going to do them to get you to do that rage thing. See if he can set you off so that he can go, ha ha ha, got it, did it. Now I've got those on. Now they're even more on those friends, even more on my side. So don't do it. Don't take that bait if that's what it is. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. Okay. And I don't know if those are any reasons why he's doing those. Those are just some ideas. Okay. So let me see, make sure I covered everything because I've been talking for a while. Okay. So I know that you're feeling insecure. He has done a number on you. And now he's telling you you're a narcissist. And I can tell that you're not actually thinking that you're a narcissist. That would be a big thing for you to, and you wouldn't feel insecure. Narcissists are grandiose. Not all, but I don't think you're thinking that. It's not that this is normal before the collapse, or not. What he would be doing is approaching liminality. You would see pieces of escape and avoid and liminality. But you might not recognize any of those. Don't worry about watching these things. And you could be seeing things of liminality anyway with the doesn't shower, playing games, approaching woe is me, refusing, looking awful, that sort of thing. But don't watch, okay? Right now, I want you just focusing on your own healing and detachment. Because that's really all you can do anyway. That's what you have control over. And he's going to do these things. He's going to do them. He's feeling so woe is me that I have to ruin somebody else's life too. If I'm going to ruin somebody else's life, it might as well be the person who I blame for ruining mine. It's revenge, retaliation, just rewards. Okay. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that he's doing that. Okay. But you get to control your life. Okay. I want you to take your life, take your power, and I want you to choose to thrive. I want you to choose joy. I want you to choose to detach. So I want you to figure out what you need to do for that. Because you can do it. Okay. You can, all of you can do that. So I hope this is helpful.